In this demo, I'm going to show you how to deploy a Node.js Express web application to Cloud Functions using an HTTP trigger. Let's first take a look at the code. So here I am in Google Cloud, and I'm going to click on Activate Cloud Shell, and then we're going to open up the editor. And my code file is in this folder here, converter-cloud-function. Now again, this is just it's a Node.js Express web application, which I'm not going to teach you to write in this video. Suffice to say that this application runs as a Node.js application, and Node.js is one of the runtimes with Cloud Functions. So we should be able to figure out how to deploy any Node.js app into that Cloud Function. Now, if we go to the terminal, we can run that function and test it out, or run that application and test it out. So it's here inside this converter Cloud Function folder, and if we wanted to run it locally, we would type npm install, and that would install the dependencies, and then to run, we would type npm start, and that would start up the program. Now notice here, this program is configured to listen on port 8081. So if I go here to web preview and change the port to 8081, we can see what the application looks like. So it's very simple. Just my little temperature converter program. So I can go here and I can convert 212 to Celsius, and that'll return 100, or I could convert 0 degrees to Fahrenheit, and that would return 32. So now I want to deploy that to Cloud Functions right here. Now, there is one little programming trick that I had to do to get this to work. Cloud Functions expects a file called index.js, which exposes your application as a function. Well, my Node.js Express app is primarily programmed in this file here called app.js. So it's in app.js where we're setting up the routes and so on and so forth. What I want to do though is I want to take this app.js module and I want to expose it as a function. And so I'm going to do that in this file called index.js. So this is really the only file in this application that is specific to Google Cloud Functions. Everything else is really just a standard Express app in Node.js. So notice here I'm importing /app, which is a module. Notice at the end of app.js, I'm exposing or exporting this variable app, which is the Express app. So I'm requiring that here. And then I'm creating this function here called app, but with an uppercase A. Now this was a little hack I had to figure out to get this function to work all the time. Essentially, the initial bug I had was if a request came in and the request did not have a / at the end, then it didn't work. So all I'm doing inside this function here is looking at the request URL, and if it doesn't have a / at the end, I'm putting one at the end, and then I'm so that function then just returns app with a lowercase a with the right request in response. And then I'm creating this variable here called converter, and I'm setting it equal to this function here with the uppercase a, and then I'm exporting that using the name converter. So when we deploy the function, it's really going to look at index.js, and then converter is going to be the function that's called, and converter really just points at this function here, app with an uppercase a, and then app with an uppercase a really just returns app with a lowercase a, which is this module right here. So I hope that makes some sort of sense. But anyway, I guess the moral of the story is this application is 100% just a plain old ordinary Node.js Express application, and the only thing that turns it into a cloud function, or the only thing that is specific to cloud functions is this one file here, index.js. Now I want to deploy that app into cloud functions here, and I'm going to use gcloud to do that. So I have a little cheat sheet here, and then this is the gcloud function I need to deploy my application. So let's switch back to terminal, and I'm just going to paste in that command. Notice it's gcloud functions deploy, and then this is the name of my function, converter, and I'm going to use the latest Node.js runtime, and the trigger is going to be HTTP, and then this parameter here just says this is a public website, so anybody can access it. So I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to deploy my function, which will take a couple minutes to be ready. So notice here, if I hit refresh, there's my converter going. Okay, now my converter program has been deployed. So let's click on converter, and let's go to the trigger tab, and then here's the URL to my application. Let's test that out, and there's my program, which of course will work just like it did before. 212 to Celsius is 100 degrees. Now, a lot of people would not want to deploy the website via cloud functions. Maybe you want to create an app for your iPhone or use Angular to build the website or something like that, and you only want to use Express to build the API. My little program also provides an API, so there's a little hyperlink down here. If I go to the URL /API/conversions and then to Celsius and then provide a temperature, then it'll run that as an API and then return JSON as the response, rather than returning a web page as a response. Anyway, that's how easy it is to deploy a Node.js Express app to a Google Cloud function that uses an HTTP trigger. This is Doug Renstrom with ROI Training.